But I also will speak to the compliance issue in and around when you're dealing with an environment such as the U.S. military. We are seeing an interesting trend right now where the asset identification standard for the U.S. military has been the chosen two-dimensional barcode, the IUID, as many people know it today. But yet there are many that are also recognizing property management has become a crucial issue for these organizations, and to get highly accurate and time savings in making sure that inventory is identified and are going actually to RFID in addition to the IUID or the two-dimensional barcode. And I think one of the interesting questions that we pose later on in the agenda is it always one or the other, or sometimes could you use both technologies? And when we get Darryl back online, we can talk a little bit about that. But recognizing compliance, when you're dealing in an environment such as the military, and you've got a requirement coming down from your biggest customers, which could be, you know, the U.S. government or the U.S. military, you do have to conform to those standards that they've defined. And for asset identification, it could be a 2D barcode. Healthcare, if you're dealing with medical devices and shipping medical devices, for instance, it actually is 2D barcode or RFID or linear barcode as the standard. So know the industry you're working with and know if you're part of some kind of greater initiative for asset identification inside that industry. The other part of it I'll comment on is the workflow that Darryl started to touch upon, which is the difference between when an item comes through a key point where it actually, you have to have a manual processing of that item to know the movement from one area to another. And we get this question often, you know, can I track the movement of these assets in real time? And the reality is that with RF signals that you can communicate and broadcast into various areas, the concept of monitoring or seeing things moving about in real time, you know, you can certainly what we call light up a warehouse or light up an area and see an item that would be moving, and you can pull the RFID readers in which to see that movement go from one zone to another. But more often than not, we see a lot of locations wanting to track the movement of asset going through a choke point of some kind. So at least directionally, if it's, say, a tool crib that might be using the RFID technology, as it moves out into another area or gets assigned to another custodian, those things happen automatically because the asset gets identified and tied to the person automatically, who may have also an RFID badge with them as they walk out of an area, and now you've got that accountability you're looking for to know where it went and who has it when you need to find it. All right, Darryl, you back?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Glad to have you back. And we've been covering quite a bit on the topic of compliance, accessibility, and workflow. So I think at this point, let's go back to our agenda here, and let's talk about the topic of durability, and when how durability because we deal with industrial asset tracking and inventory situations at A2B. What's your experience with durability and whether barcode or RFID is the right choice, depending on what these assets are exposed to?
Well, I think generally speaking, that I think that the process that we're trying to help improve would dictate whether we went barcode or RFID. That being said, I think that we have durable tags, whether it's an RFID tag or an asset plate with a barcode on it. We have durable tags that, you know, can stand up to weather or heat or any of the elements, sun, that you might have. So I would say it's really more the process would dictate whether we're doing RFID, barcode, or both. I'm a big advocate for using both for a number of reasons. But I think it's just important once you've selected the technology, to tag selection is critical. And then
Yeah,
we've worked with a
well,
number of tag manufacturers to find the right tags for the application.